I'm Richard Detergi, founder of Com Marketing, and today we've got a very special show. It's called Studio Success Secrets. We've had a whole bunch of episodes lined up, but we decided to kind of pause it at the moment in the current circumstances. So today we thought about, let's do a Studio Success Secrets virtual edition, and that's what we're doing right now. We are doing a virtual edition. So just to make sure this is across Facebook and everybody can see this. So if you can and you are tuning in, just say hello, and just write what your business name is. That would be great. That would be amazing, and I'll go to our page to make sure that I can see that. Today we've got a very special guest. I've got I'll call it a tribe member, tribe functional trainer owner, Jackson Chen. Welcome to the show. Good day,
Richard.
Now, Jackson, you're a studio owner.
Yes.
And this is a studio owner show. So I thought it would be fitting to have a conversation with you about a few different things. One including what's going on at the moment and how you've been able to ride the storm and some of the secrets that you've had. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you are tuning in, guys, let me know where you're tuning in from, and just ensure that you can see me. Yep, I can see that everybody can see me. Amazing, cool. I thought today I just dropped my screen here. So I thought today we'd ask you a few questions, and I will try to get you on the big screen here. Just get you on the big screen here. Make sure my whiteboard is not showing too much. So Jackson, let's get into it. Into it. Maybe you can drop my screen, my white screen there. Question number one is, in all these, what's been happening at the moment is it's a whole array of different things happening at the moment. And you've had a successful studio, and all of a sudden 2 or 3 weeks ago, like everybody else, had to kind of like close the doors. So,
yeah.
That's random in the first place. Let's think about that. That is super random in the first place. But then, some people in these times have decided to go, you know what, I'm not going to put my head in the sand. I'm going to drive forward, and I'm going to find a way through. You're also one of our Ninja clients. Mm-hmm. And actually last month you won Ninja of the Month. And I wanted to kind of like continue this conversation, figure out what you did in this period. And so maybe you can talk to me about what Tribe Functional is. And I know it's a franchise as well. So maybe just talking about that first, and then we'll get into the other questions.
Yeah, so Tribe Functional Training is a functional training studio, and we're very boutique in what we do. And we focus on strength training, HIIT, a lot of movement, and also we're incorporating the yoga and stretching component. So very holistic approach when it comes to fitness, and that's kind of what we do in that regards as a studio.
And how many tribes are there now in Australia?
Currently with nine franchises. Yep, cool. That's operating in New South Wales.
And you were franchise number what? How
number 2.
Number 2. So you're an early adopter of things. Is that
right? Absolutely. Yeah.
I can definitely see that. So you've been doing an early adopter. What made you kind of go into this direction? You know what I mean? There's obviously options to go independent, to go franchise. What was the decisions that you decided to move forward with?
I came from a personal training background. I think when I came across I guess this opportunity, I thought, well, let's have a look at something that one is a franchise where we've got that corporate support, and secondly, looking at options of growing with a brand and into something a bit bigger. As the brand grows bigger, I mean, obviously the opportunity increases. So I thought that rather than going on my own, I wanted to look at something that's got a corporate support in the background as a franchise, and then something we can grow into in time as well. So I know there'll be early stages as a studio owner, like in any franchise, there'll be some sort of teething issues, but I thought that was, as the brand increases, that's a great opportunity to sort of grow with it at the same time.
So you understand the power of brands.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A bit about brands. I mean, a lot of people can go and say, well, I'm the brand of my business and I'm going to do it myself, but you've taken a different approach to that. What's your philosophy on brand?
I think, funnily enough, I actually looked at F45 about 6-7 years ago when the first corporate franchise came out, and look where it is now. Like, brand is so powerful. Over time, people recognize something, and when they hear a name that they recognize, they associate something with it. So when you have a powerful brand, have someone, a collective of people, group of people that's coming together, there's power behind that name. You can go on your own, but your reach can be only so far. And that's how I see that the brand is so powerful.
Exactly. And you're located in Rouse Hill. For those who don't know Rouse Hill, what sort of demographic and area is that?
Northwest of Sydney, I'd say, so a lot of young families, young married couple, family, parents, probably in that age group, I'll say about 30 to 45 age group in this area. Very fast growing area. Like it's changed a lot in the last 10 years or so. And I think that's where most of the demographic will be in this area.
Excellent. So let's get straight to it, because I mean, our questions are going to be skewed a little bit because, you know, at the moment, Jackson, I mean, when we call this show Studio Success Secrets, I honestly believe that it's the perfect name, because some studios, as I said, have really found opportunities in this time, and some studio owners have decided to, you know what, let's close every door and let's just stop everything, and rightfully so. And there's no right or wrong way, but I just thought, you know, when you're done everything to this point to get more members, more clients, more flow, basically, like, everybody's in this situation that said, hey, we're going to close the doors. I guess my first question is, you know, when you heard about that and knowing that you've been in our program and you've been scaling up your business quite nicely, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, stop. What was your first reaction?
Well, I think like everybody, it was a bit of a shock. But at the same time, I think I was fairly prepared for it mentally. I think when it first came out, I think one of the things I looked at was that, you know what, we don't know where this is going to go. Like, there's a lot of talk about, yes, there'll be some small restrictions. Like, you know, we've got 10 increasing number of classes, constant cleaning. But I knew at some point there will be some sort of restriction in the studio. So from the very first incident, I think I started preparing for what would be the absolute worst case scenario. So when he came about saying that, okay, you have to close the studio, I was already ready to go. So I was preparing for about 2 weeks to go, you know, what was the absolute worst case scenario for them to close my doors, and what would I do in that time? So rather than focusing on what I can do based on what the government are telling me what I can do at the time, I was focused on what is the absolute worst case scenario so I can move forward if they do close my doors. Excellent. So I was fairly prepared.
So you're always looking ahead.
Yeah.
And is that just in crisis mode, Jackson, or as a business owner, do you feel that you're always having to look ahead?
I think we always have to. I think as a business owner, we have to always look ahead. I mean, if I'm only focusing on the things right now, you're very limited. I always believe that you need to look at what potentially can happen in 3 months' time and doing the work now to prepare for that to happen.
Excellent. Let's talk about what you've been able to bring across and what sort of happened in the situation. So, okay, we said we had to close the doors. In regards to your members, you know, you decided to pivot over to virtual. So tell me that kind of combination. What happened at that point? How many people decided to come across, and how do you market? Because this is really interesting. How do you get people across? Because I know a lot of people out there that we speak to are saying, well, you know, my clients don't want to, they signed up for brick and mortar, they signed up for the physical, you know, I want to be there, touch and feel. How do I bring clients from here to there now? Can you explain your theory and your process?
Yeah, look, it's certainly, it's quite a hard process. I think for a lot of people in the first couple of weeks, they were still just adjusting to the whole idea that, oh, I can't go to the gym anymore, or, you know, what I signed up for is not what it is. And there was a lot of adjustments. I mean, I was able to prepare a lot of my members about a week beforehand and talking to them what the possibilities may be coming and what we are doing as a studio to prepare for it. Even then, there's still a lot of people that didn't buy into the initial change, which is very understandable. A lot of people lost jobs, a lot of different circumstance changes. And I think the biggest thing for most people is that the norm that they're used to are completely out of whack. And that probably took a lot of people a good week to readjust to what their norm is. But I managed to shift about probably 50% of the initial members over to virtual. They were quite comfortable moving over. And my strategy for that was, my strategy was simply to talk to them about it. And actually, I did a launch class before it all shut down. I actually did a launch class about a week before to invite all the members to try. We had about 30 odd people that attended that class on a Sunday as a once off, kind of like a trial. So I was already putting that in their minds to give it a go.
Yeah, guys, if you're just tuning in, this is Jackson Chen. He's the owner of Rouse Hill Tribe. If you are joining us, please give us a thumbs up. Give us some love. We like that. Good to have you joining us. I've got Mary T, Jules, Joey, and we're talking about Jackson, who was one of the early adopters in our Ninja program to shift across to the virtual model. We've talked about, mindset and how to do that. You've just been telling me, Jackson, that you have pretty much said, okay, this may happen. Let's get everybody across before it happened onto a pre-done, like an invitation on virtual before you even had a lockdown. And through that first class, do you think that was a pivoting point to get as many people over as possible?
Oh, absolutely. I think if anything, if you prepare them for it, they've got more ways of accepting it. I think when people are told that you need to go virtual and they have got no time to prepare for what that may be, it's very daunting. And particularly when virtual really, it's quite different to a live workout. And people have, a lot of people have preconceived ideas what a video workout is or live workout is, and virtual gym is actually completely different. And I think people don't experience that unless they actually tried it.
And tell me, have you had any experience with virtual before the last 3-4 weeks?
No, none at all.
Just like a lot of people, yeah? Same.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now tell me, you've been in this virtual space for 2 weeks, is that right?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Happy anniversary, everybody. 2 weeks.
Yes.
We're all virtuals. And so just to recap, how many clients, percentage of clients did you bring across? 50%? Is it going up? How's it looking now?
Yeah, we shift about 50% across initially after the first initial announcement. And then we are growing now. Like, the first week was kind of a bit of a hustle and trying to calm everybody down. But now in the second week, we've grown about 12 members last week. So quite a few people have come back on board, and returning old members coming back on board from, people gone to the different gyms, their gym haven't pivoted, they've changed, they've stopped training. A week later, 2 weeks later, all of a sudden they go, my body's changing after 2 weeks. So they're now looking for options. And quite a few have come back to me from just simply seeing what I've been doing on social media.
Yeah, excellent. So you're saying that through the pivot to virtual, you're saying that now people didn't come across first. So it's almost like that kind of FOMO world, and it's almost like, this is the new normal. And now they're starting to come across from those conversations you're having with them and the emails and the social media doing. And then second, you're also saying you're getting new clients from people that left you and they could have for some sort of circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think as people become warming to the idea of what virtual gym looks like, they're starting to turn around and go, well, let's give this a go.
Amazing. Now, tell me how you set up at the moment, Jackson. You've got 9 locations, and what you've told me is that you've all come together and you've created one kind of stream. Tell me a bit about that, and because this is great for anybody who's got multiple locations. It's a really very innovative thing that you guys are doing. So tell me about that, Jackson.
Yeah. So I guess I mean initially the idea was to try and keep everything as normal as possible for my clients. So I was trying to run as many classes as possible. But when we started looking at all the other locations that were also closing down, we came together and said, well, why don't we share the resources and pull our trainers together and then put one timetable together, and then we share the load and actually let everyone have the opportunity to jump into one location from the 9 studios that we have, and they all jump into one spot to train together. So from the 9 locations, we actually got one timetable, but share the resources across the 9 locations.
Amazing. And so what you've told me now, that you're really not doing any of the sessions, you've just basically put the whole thing together, and now it's business as kind of normal to a degree.
100%. I mean, I'll probably do four classes a week, and which is kind of like a fully staffed studio what I had before. And then rest of my time is now implementing systems, sales processes, funnels, and really getting back into that growth phase again. Like, business is normal. It's just a different model.
I love it. I love it. Growth stage. Guys, if you're watching this live or replay, write growth if you're interested in growing your, studio fitness business now. We've had a bit of a transition period over the last 2 weeks, but who's interested in growing, right? Growth in the comments. Okay, Jackson, let's talk about some tactical, technical things, because, you know, I know that we've had a lot of questions about Zoom and technical stuff over the last 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Tell me about one or two of the biggest technical challenges that you're faced and how you overcome them.
The two things I think I was focusing on is making sure that the clients had the best experience they have shifting over to virtual.
Yep.
So the two things I was making sure that it happened was the sound and the music. So really want to try to create an experience that they can experience like they come into the gym, they got the music, or that sort of liveliness in the studio, and they got that interaction. So the vocal was huge. So the two things I focused on was making sure the microphone was working well. So I had a Bluetooth microphone, and then the sound was coming through the computer clearly for the music. And so that allows them to kind of experience something similar as they come into the virtual room. Is like they're stepping into a studio.
Got you. And so you said, okay, if I can get the microphone right and the music right, that's kind of the vast majority that your program was about. You said Bluetooth. Give me what microphone you're specifically using.
I've actually got two options. I've got a Stabilitech Bluetooth microphone that I plug into the laptop as a way to communicate, which is quite light, which I can actually move quite well and still do exercises and communicate very easily. And the other one, I have a Rode Go Wireless, which is a very small body pack lapel mic. And that I found that better, especially if you're doing longer sessions. And that's much better about battery life. So like a good 5-6 hours. So it was a lot better in clarity and sound and so on.
Okay, so you've got the Rode, then you've got the backup that is the Rode is good. Awesome. Yep. Rode is good. And so the music, tell me about the music situation. What did you do to overcome the clarity here?
Yep. So the easiest way of doing it is I tried quite a few different options in the past, trying using various different mixers, going to the Zoom app. But the easiest way to do it is to have Spotify or music playing on the laptop and share the sound through the Zoom app in the advanced tab. And then that allows you to share the music into the participant's living room. But the thing is, you've got to make sure you get the balance right. So I actually initially I tested it with my own devices, had 3 people logged in at the same time and just play around with the volumes and make sure I get that right. So every time someone logs in, music's playing. We've got a waiting room waiting for them to the screen with the countdown. So it's like they come to the reception.
I love it. I love the waiting room with the countdown. That builds that anticipation. So that's awesome. And the clock, is it just your iPhone clock? Is it a special clock you're using?
I had a just online on the web page, like a countdown clock on the web page.
Countdown clock on your website. I love it. Little hack there, guys. If you're just joining us now, it's Jackson Chen, very successful owner of Tribe Functional and franchise business. And you were able to pivot really fast across to virtual and bring 50% plus members, and they're starting to grow now, as we're talking about. Before this happened, Jackson, I think we've known each other about 3 months. Before tell me about before this whole, 3-4 months beforehand, what was your biggest kind of hurdle in your business? And kind of why did you, and we've been talking for a while, but you're a ninja in our program. So those who don't know, Ninja is a marketing program that we teach businesses how to scale their business. Tell me what you learned 3 months prior to this and what it meant now going into this Corona land, let's call it.
I think as any business, I think when I first started shooting about 12 or good over 12 months ago, I think we were trying to target a lot of different people at the same time. Yep. And I think one of the key things I've learned coming to the comm program is understanding a niche and understanding my own brand and my personality in the studio. I think they're the 3 things I picked out the most, and really just honing on what I can do and bring my personality across into the studios and making sure I market that message correctly to the right avatar, the right group of people. Because before that, we were just trying to target everybody. And the last 3 or 4 months, we saw quite a exponential growth in the 3 month period ever since January. And I think it was because the messaging was clearer and the people can see the personality different as we on social media.
Excellent. And as guys, you're just joining us, like, you're running a very good business, and then all you've done made some adjustments on the messaging and the audience and the avatars, the social media, their Instagram. Now with this happening, tell me what you think the future lies. So now we're all gone virtual. A lot of people have gone virtual and never done it before.
Yeah.
And a lot of us have brought members across to virtual. And my personal opinion is, Jackson, is that after this is all over, some businesses will go straight back to normal. Some businesses will say, you know what, this is an extra stream that these people weren't going to come to my studio. Should I have it around or not moving forward? But I guess my question to you now is, like, where do you see the future lies with what's happened now? Is this something that you're prepared to hold long term, or is this a short term plug until everybody can come back into the studio?
I think the virtual world is a completely different market to what the brick and mortar is. I think there'll always be those people who want to go back to the gym, they want that community, they want to touch and feel heavy weights. That's always going to be there, and they want that personal interaction. Yeah. But what I found that with the virtual, which I've actually ended up doing, starting another separate stream, is that I actually focus a lot more on education. So really educating people how to do things. So it's kind of not just running live classes, but actually running in as much more small boutique style. So we're actually teaching them much more personalized coaching techniques in a small group environment. So I think personally, I'll be running a fairly hybrid model. So there are people who kind of goes, well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. I want to jump on a virtual class where I feel less intimidated by having never been to the gym before and walk into a gym. I'm going to jump in for 3 quick sessions on the virtual class, gain some confidence, I can walk into the gym. So I think there's a possibility, a bit of a bridge, a bit of a gap in the upcoming months. And
as you say, less intimidated, easy to get started straight away. When it's brick and mortar, you got to drive, you got to put your clothes on, you got to walk upstairs, you got to do all that stuff. You got to get intimidated. What you're saying is you're feeling that there's less intimidation. It's easy to get started, better education in the early days, and then figure out where it's going to go from there.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Very good opportunities, guys. What are your thoughts so far? Write in the questions, what's the most valuable piece of advice that you got so far, if you're watching this on replay or live, and I'll get to those in a second. Another question for you, Jackson, what keeps your members around full stop? Because I think anybody to come across to something that they've never experienced before, hey, it's like you walk up the door, hey, do you want to not train in my gym and train virtual? Like, I guess that's something that we have to do now. There's no kind of option, but why wouldn't your members say, I'm going to go watch some YouTube, or I'm going to go onto a massive online platform that's already there? What makes you unique in this marketplace? Why are your members coming to you for?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that was an initial response by a lot of people when they go, I want to go virtual. They can just watch a video. They've got hundreds of different apps out there that bring the workout into the living room in the phones. It's been around for 10 years. Live workout's been around for a long time. Like, it's nothing new. But I think the virtual, what makes us different, and what we have to make it different, is that the community, that ability that we can interact with them away from the gym. And even though in the virtual gym, you can talk to them because it's a Zoom workout, you can talk to them, you correct them, you can make sure that they're doing things correctly, they're on screen. So it's not you just doing something, they're following you and you're not interacting with them. That's the first thing. And the second thing is accountability. So what we do with our members, I have a Zoom call with them once a week. So quick 10 minutes, 15 minutes check up every single week. We talk about goals, nutrition. We actually start setting up plans. So is all that accountability that we're adding on as a virtual gym member, that they should be getting it as a brick and mortar, but we're adding more value by providing more that accountability on a weekly basis. And at the same time, we also do a lot of fun things outside of that. We're actually doing kind of like a games night on a Friday for the members. And that we're doing games, doing Pictionary, doing Kahoots. So it's that sort of bit of a banter between members outside of gym. So I think what set us different is that we need to create the community, even though we're all in separate lives and separate homes and so on.
you're really taking your third space, you know, home, work, kind of gym, fitness, and you're bringing now that third space into their house now that you have the opportunity to do that with those extra activities, not just the fitness stuff.
Yeah.
Excellent. Quick question, just a tactical question. There's a question come up saying, okay, what platform do you use? Do you use FaceTime? Do you use Zoom? Do you use Skype? What platform do you use to run everything on?
Zoom. I found Zoom is probably the most effective platform at the moment, even though like the whole world is probably using it at the moment, but certainly it's the most interactive way of doing it because it's got all these built-in functions in there to interact with people that you can individualize, they can share music. It's already there. So it's probably the simplest platform to move on to without too much hassle.
Amazing. Two more questions for you, Jackson. So what does your typical day look like now? What's a day look like now? I mean, now we're 2 weeks in, you're saying now it's about growth. What does it look like for you?
Literally rebuilding a whole business model. I mean, this whole sales process changed. Like the sales funnels that we had before is different. The way we communicate with people is different. We're shifting a lot onto messaging. So a typical day now, my diary is basically working on funnels and sales strategies and changing the way we communicate with people. And we're now, instead of doing one-on-one consults, we're now booking in Zoom consults. So we're doing PowerPoint presentation. I'm drafting up a PowerPoint presentation to do presentation on one-on-one consults when I do a Zoom, when I call in. And so the whole process has changed. We literally had to rewrite whole business plan.
So outstanding. So you're in a growth stage, you're in a rebuild stage, and a lot of your time is just get the stuff done. So in this time, is it fair to say, Jackson, routines and structures, as important as they are, do you feel that you're struggling to get back to your routine, or are you just kind of marching along here?
I definitely said the first two was extremely difficult. I mean, we're in crisis mode. We're trying to manage all the little fires that's coming up, you know. But now I think it's crucially important to get back into a routine, restructure your day, knowing that what you need to do, put some top tasks in place to make sure you're moving forward on a daily basis. Because if you haven't quite established the virtual gym just yet, get that right. But certainly the routine is massive. I mean, we've got to make sure we establish that routine again so we can move the business forward.
Excellent. Just a quick one, I think will help our viewers out, Jackson. How do you overcome challenges that people wanting to cancel? So it's still early days, 2-3 weeks. What happens if people are wanting to cancel this time and say, you know what, let's just wait for the studio to open? Have you overcome that? And what's some examples you can give to anybody listening?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because my philosophy around this is always go back to the real reason why you started this studio or this business in the first place, for myself and for the clients. So I started the business because I want to help people and I want to help them on the fitness journey. So when people come to me and say, I want to cancel, I want to do this, I first have to find out the reasons why they want to cancel, what's the reason behind it. And then we put it back on them. Under these circumstances, where's your fitness goal at the moment? Has it changed? And I think if you continue to go back to the reasons why they want to go on the fitness journey, then we have a way to find a solution for them. A lot of people, it's financial to begin with. And secondly, it's time, because a lot of people's routine has changed. They're struggling with trying to homeschool. They've got kids at home. They're working from home. So everything they had before have completely changed. And I think it's really important for us to be empathetic for them in this time. So rather than just doing a hard sell and go, well, you need to get back on track. You know, you can't lose this. A lot of them are just being very understanding and said, look, this I can totally understand. I just kept them on communication, and then a lot of them are starting to come back because now they've found a routine. Now they're finding that they've lost a bit of traction. They're the one coming back to me saying, I feel like I've gone backwards. I don't want to go backwards. What can I do now? So I think you got to play the cards right when in this time. Be empathetic and remember that our job as fitness professionals is to help them on the fitness journey, not just the physical side, but the mental side as well too. So we're here to guide them. And I think that's what it comes back to.
Excellent. Jackson, just one final question. So, you know, we have a lot of fitness studio owners and businesses that are kind of figuring out, well, what are they going to do with this time and how are they going to get through that may not have direction? What's one bit of advice that you can give someone who's out there probably struggling doing it themselves? What's your thoughts?
I think it's going back to that what was just the comment I just made then. So it's go back to that real reason why you're in this industry in the first place. Understand what's your reason for being a fitness professional. Go back to that reason. If your reason is still as strongly as it was 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, go back to that and go back to the grassroots and find out the creative ways that you can help. You can do one-on-ones, you can do Zoom, there's so many things you can do to still continue to help people. I think that's what we need to do. If you want to find, if your reason is to help people on the fitness journey, find a creative way of doing it. And secondly, I think this is the time where you want to reach out to people who's doing well or have pivoted well. Ask for advice. And there's no reason for any of us to do this on our own. I think be part of the fitness community, reach out to people like yourself, Colm, and different people, certainly about how you can grow in this period. I think really, really important as a fitness professional not to do this alone, because the whole industry has been affected, and the whole industry needs to band together and help each other to grow and move forward from this point.
Excellent. Jackson, thank you for your time. Now, when we have studio going, we will promise we're going to come out and do a proper studio success show. We want to sort of show everybody what you do and how you do it. So, and thank you so much for being an amazing ninja and a great inspirational character for those who are watching and following your journey as well. For now, Jackson, you can get back to training and planning your new funnels out and making sure that your business is growing. So I'll let you go for now. Thanks, Jackson.
Thanks, Richard. See you guys.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Studio Success Secrets, virtual edition, I may say. That's just been inserted in there, virtual edition. As I said at the start, we have a whole series planned, film ready to go. We're going to launch that maybe in a few months. But for now, each week we're going to bring you someone who's done this space and doing this space really well virtually, a studio owner that's doing this space really well virtually. So if you know anybody doing that, just tag them in the comments and say, hey, this person's doing a good job. And then we can get them on a Zoom and have a conversation with them to help share this information out to the industry. So guys, that's it for now. If you need any more help, if you want a conversation about how you can take your business up, simply put in the comments help somewhere. If you're watching this on Facebook Live or on replay on Instagram, just put help and we'll get in contact and have a conversation. For now, thanks so much, guys. Bye for now.